Woo! What's going on? This is The Fight Guy, and I am your host, Guy Pert. Today is Sunday, February 16th, 2025, and I'm going to be breaking down UFC Vegas 102, Rodriguez versus Cannonier. Let's get right into it. The women's MMA match, Julia Avila versus Jacqueline Cavalcanti. This one went exactly how I thought it would go. Jacqueline dominated 3 rounds. Good win for her. She just used her reach advantage and just kind of pieced up Julia for 15 minutes. All right. Julia retired afterwards. Very sad if you're an emotional person.
I'm not going to say what race, what people, doctor, and what hospital, and what media went to. We know I can't say that. It was a Jewish doctor.
I'm not. We move on to the next fight. Don'Tale Mayes versus Walter Walker. This fight pissed me off.
Fighting for my life. Y'all killing me with this.
It was very hard to watch. I really question if we live in a simulation or a cartoon. I don't know how a heavyweight Walter Walker gets 2 heel hook submissions in a row, but he did it. Walter Walker shoots 1 takedown attempt, gets Don'Tale Mayes down. I thought Don'Tale Mayes would put up more of a fight. He gets taken down. Walter Walker sacrifices position for a 50-50 leg attack. He goes for the heel hook, rolls over. Don'Tale Mayes had a chance to escape right there when Walter Walker rolled over. Instead of trying to just stand right up like he should have done, as an inexperienced heavyweight, he tried to scoop his own heel hook of his own or straight ankle lock. Walter was already cranking on that heel hook, got the submission. When I cut Don'Tale Mayes from the UFC, I don't ever want to see him again. I'm embarrassed for picking him. Tried to go bold. Tried to get a couple underdog picks in. Thought Don'Tale Mayes would be able to at least survive a minute on his feet. I was wrong. Walter Walker was right. He got his second heel hook submission in a row. I'm tripling down. There's no fucking way he gets 3 in a row. He's losing his next fight. The heavyweight division is the shallowest division. A 15th ranked Don'Tale Mayes can't defend 1 half-ass takedown attempt. That was hard to watch. Good win. Hope you feel good about that one. I'm not that pissed, but seriously, what are we doing? Next fight, Vince Morales versus Elijah Smith. We had this one right. We went with Elijah Smith. This was a great fight. This was a really great matchup for Elijah Smith. He looked great the first round. He had great takedown defense. Vince tried to mix in some takedowns. Elijah was good in the clinch. He was really good everywhere. He had a full camp for this fight. His Contender Series fight, he stepped in on 2-week notice on vacation. So I really like this kid. I think he's going to fit in the bantamweight division well. Can't wait to watch his next fight. It was a great decision win for Elijah. Moving on to the next fight, Gabriel Bonfim versus Chaos Williams. I picked the wrong Bonfim brothers. I should have picked the one with the better record. I picked the one with the worst record to win. Nonetheless, great win for Bonfim. He looked great everywhere. His leg kick, he was straight with his punches. They all landed. Chaos was looping a lot, and he was just behind Gabriel on the feet. He was behind him everywhere. Gabriel takes him down in the second round, gets to work. He lined up a couple different Darce variations, but ultimately that last one that he had in was a lot tighter than I thought. Props to Chaos for fighting through it, because he was napping. He looked like a fish. He was trying to breathe H2O after he got choked out. I'll try to add the clip in here. So you could see it if you missed the fights or you just want to see it again, because it's fucking hilarious. But good win for Gabriel Bonfim. That he looked very good everywhere, I have to say. Putting Chaos Williams to sleep is not a little deal. No minor feat there. So props to Bonfim. Rafael Estevam versus Jesus Aguilar. This one went exactly how I thought it would go. I thought Estevam would be a little bit smarter with his control, with his grappling control. I must have lost. How many takedowns did he have here? 11 for 19. So let's just say about 8 of those takedowns, he had opportunities to lock down the back. He didn't. He had. How much taller is he than Jesus? I'm not going to pull up their stats right now, but I believe he had like half a foot. He had a 7-inch reach advantage on Jesus, but he never threw his boots in. We call them boots in wrestling. They call them hooks in jiu-jitsu. He would take the back, get his underhook, overhook, whatever, but he never threw his legs in to establish control. That's like 101. And it's not that he didn't do it once or twice. I mean, look, he had 9.5 minutes of control time, but he could have seriously threatened submission threats, rear naked chokes. He could have transitioned to the armbar. We didn't know because he never went to take the back. It looked very inexperienced. I'm not sure what he was doing there. But he got the win. I thought he would maybe get the submission, but he didn't even go for it. He was just playing to be safe. Good win for Estevam, but I wanted to see a little bit more. I didn't think his grappling looked as good as I thought it was. Angela Hill versus Ketlin Souza. We went with Souza, but Hill won. This was a close fight, but Hill did look better. She even shot a couple takedowns, I believe. Yep, 4.5 minutes of control time. She was busier on the feet. She did slow down a bit in the third round, that I thought, but she just looked better. She didn't look like a 40-year-old. And both the 40-year-old virgins did win last night. I was impressed. Happy Black History Month. Great win, Angela Hill. She pieced up Souza fair and square. We move on to the next fight. Connor Matthews, Jose Miguel Delgado. Jose got a nice knockout win. Victory by punches you see here in the first round. This is exactly what I thought would happen. I believe he's got 5 knockouts and 4 submissions. I told you this guy's got great training partners at the MMA lab. He obviously knocked him out first round. It's what I thought would happen, so congrats to Jose. He's going to fit in the featherweight just fine. He's a serious contender, serious stud. Keep an eye out for him the next couple years. He's going places. Moving on to the main card. Rodolfo Vieira versus Andre Petroski. We went with Petroski. This was my second underdog pick, I think. This underdog did win. Petroski won the fight. It was a controversial decision. I didn't think it was that bad. I thought his shots hurt Vieira a lot more than Vieira's shots hurt Petroski. Vieira was kind of shooting takedowns, what felt like defensive takedowns instead of offensive takedowns. I believe he had a little bit of control time. It says 1:50. I think a lot of that was against the cage. I don't really remember him keeping Petroski down. Petroski had great takedown defense. Like I said, it looks close on paper, and it was. I mean, these guys were pretty much 1-for-1 on all of their strikes, but Petroski's strikes just hurt more. I mean, you could tell by the body language of the fighters. Rodolfo was reacting a lot more to Petroski's significant strikes than vice versa. I thought this was a good decision. Petroski looked great. He called out Bo Nickel afterwards. I do think that would be a fun fight, but I think the UFC has vested interest in Bo Nickel. They're going to give him a ranked guy next, especially after just beating Paul Craig, who just dropped off the rankings. So I would like to see these two cross paths. I do think that their striking is pretty balanced. So I would like to see how Andre Petroski's grappling holds up against Bo Nickel. That would be a fun fight. But great win, Petroski. Ismail Bonfim against Nazim Sadykhov. We went with the wrong Bonfim brother, as discussed earlier. I thought Ismail would win. This did get stopped right before round 2. The doctor came in. Anytime the doctor comes in, you get nervous. And Ismail, I don't know if there was a language barrier or what. He was nodding his head like he was okay, but his body language it looked like he was a bit concussed. Apparently he couldn't see, but then they stopped the fight and then he threw a fit. I don't know what happened. I didn't hear what he said. Nazim landed a dirty kick at the end of round 1, and it just looked like the doctor didn't let Ismail go out to continue the fight in round 2. These guys were going at it hard. Great win, Nazim. It was a fun fight while it lasted. Edmund Shahbazyan versus Dylan Budka. Third to last fight on the main card. Edmund looked great. Obviously, another round 1 knockout. This is another reason why this card was way better than UFC 312. There was like 3 finishes. I believe every other fight went to decision on 312. And here we are. I mean, most of these fights have been finished. There's only been like 3 decisions up to this point, 4 decisions. 2 of them were female fights. So what do you expect? Sorry, ladies. Edmund looked great. He's a dog. I thought that this would get dragged out a little bit further, and then Edmund would get the finish. But I'm not going to complain with a round 1 knockout. Great win, Edmund. Dylan Budka, what are you doing in the UFC 7-5? You're supposed to be a wrestler. You didn't shoot a single takedown. Calvin Kattar versus Yosef Zalal. Calvin started to heat up at the end of the fight, but Yosef just looked really good in the first round. But he was kind of running from Kattar the entire fight. The first round, it just mixed really well with the striking. Of course, you don't want to take a lot of damage. You want to get in, you want to get out. Yosef won the first 2 rounds. He landed clean strikes. He got in, he got out, and he just kind of kept a safe distance from Calvin. Third round, Calvin really pulled that dog out of him. He was landing the harder shots. Yosef wasn't even landing any shots, pretty much. A couple small counters, but he was just backpedaling the entire fight. It was very frustrating to watch. He was just running away from Calvin. Calvin was heating up. I think that if that was a 5-round fight, Calvin may have won. He was really looking good in the third round, but he just got in the first 2 rounds. So props to Yosef. There was a clip to Yosef saying that Calvin put Vaseline all over his legs and his face and stuff like that. Vaseline accusations aren't taken lightly here, so I'll look and see if I could find that clip. But great win, Yosef. But you're a piece of shit, man. Coming off of 3 straight submissions, I expected more action out of you. You backpedaled your way to a decision. It's very dishonorable. I hope that you have trouble sleeping at night. Jared Cannonier versus Gregory Rodriguez. I first want to start this off by saying, as I believe I said on Friday's video, I'm fired up if Jared Cannonier wins this fight. I love Cannonier. I've watched this guy since he was a heavyweight, down to light heavyweight, and then his run at middleweight has been phenomenal to watch. I did think Gregory Rodriguez would knock him out early, and I was almost right. Gregory Rodriguez knocked Cannonier down twice in the first round. Serious knockdowns, Robocop style. Eats a couple punches, delivers a bigger payload. Cannonier really came back, focused in the second round. He looked great. He started to take a little bit of momentum from Gregory. You could see about halfway through the second round, Cannonier definitely got like a second wind, right? He was looking great. Going into the third round, Cannonier, it was 19-19. Obviously, Cannonier got knocked down twice, lost the first round, picked momentum up the second round, and then the third round, you could see Rodriguez start to get really tired in the third round. They both had their moments, but Cannonier landed a hard elbow with about 20 seconds left in the third round, did a little bit of ground and pound. It looked like some heavy shots, but Rodriguez went to their corner. And then I thought we were really in for a couple championship rounds. Sure enough, 20 seconds into the fourth round, Jared Cannonier smelled blood in the water, and he did what a killer gorilla does, and he went in there, just bashed Rodriguez against the fence, and got the finish 20 seconds in. So I said that Cannonier would land more, and he did. He did land more strikes. I thought Gregory Rodriguez's strikes would land harder, and they did. Obviously, look at round 1. I don't know if he burnt himself out too quick. I don't know if it just added up and got to him. He hasn't been in a 5-round fight before, right? So this is the first time Rodriguez has been to round 4 in the UFC. I don't know if he expended his energy. I don't know what happened there with the conditioning aspect, but Cannonier smelled blood. He finished. He put the exclamation mark at the end of the period of the third round and got Rodriguez out of there. I'm fired up for Cannonier. There's a lot of questions about who we give Cannonier next. I think that Cannonier should fight, hold on, who do we have here? Next week, let me switch it. We have the UFC Seattle, I believe, Brennan Allen, and Anthony Hernandez. Give Cannonier the winner of this fight. These are 2 hot contenders in the middleweight. Cannonier, 40 years old, about to be 41, just shut down Robocop. I think you give him the winner of this fight. I know both these guys are nasty wrestlers, but I mean, who else do you give Cannonier? Like he said in his post-fight interview, he's ranked 7. 4 people ranked ahead of him have already beaten him before. You could let him fight Sean Strickland again. He did win a split decision against Sean, but I do think that the winner of the Brendan Allen or Anthony Hernandez fight would be equally as good of a candidate, unless we want to see another one of Sean Strickland's fucking bloody wars with Jared Cannonier. That's been all the fights from UFC Vegas 102 last night. Let me check the bingo card real quick. Here, I don't believe we have anything that had nobody's shorts came off, no anti-Trump, no contest, body slam. The only thing that could have hit here was the undefeated fighter losing or getting finished, but Estevam was the only undefeated fighter, and he did win. So the bingo card is safe. I am not one step closer to sparring a UFC fighter. So yeah, that's been the Fighter Breakdowns.